For the homepage, I've suggested these things, so we do like a headline and a video up here that covers our mission, who we are and what we do. Right now, that is right here. It's in third place on our homepage. So what we really need to do is put that front and center so that people can understand our story. I don't know that it's going to be this video here anymore, but regardless, we'd like to tell the story right up front. So okay. I would love it if this were just a big our story video right here.
Okay.
With this headline,
Yeah. Something cool that we've done on a couple of sites recently is we've had a section of a video that just kind of autoplays as a background, and then there's a nice play button on top where you can pop open the rest of that video, and it's just really attention grabbing, and I think something like that might work well for you guys too.
Mm-hmm.
That could be cool. And then the second part, instead of these buckets, which are their pain buckets, this is up to our, this is a message that we are going to tell, but it shouldn't be up front. This is where, so we thought it should be up front when we first did this, but this isn't what they want to talk about first. What they're coming to do is they're coming to get served versus serve us and tell them what their challenges are. They're not interested in giving us information before they understand who we are. So what we need to do is tell them our story and then tell them how we're different. And that's what I described to you, single source for sleep healthcare that combines all the best-in-class providers right here, and that we can deliver consistent care at scale and increase their population's access to the best sleep healthcare available. So if we can tell them that right in here, that's what we want to do, is that value statement. And then I think we need to hit on these education links right after that. Because like I told you, it's like they want to know who we are, how we're different, and then they want to dig into our expertise, which our education speaks to that. And to some of the problems and the things that they're concerned with, A new way to deliver sleep health care, the cost to business executives, the cost to shift workers, all of this speaks right to their issues.
Okay.
So rather than, we can get rid of the pain buckets, we can move this player up, we can then, so I think just then we hit education, and then after that is when we need to do testimonials. And what I would like to see here, and I think testimonials should go at the bottom, we can't offer logos or anything, so because there's a privacy issue with our contracts, so we're not allowed to tell them who we're serving.
Okay.
So right now we've got this industry thing going on, which is okay. If you go, so in terms of the testimonial section at the bottom, I want to talk a little bit about that, because the way I see it, we have these statements right here, these quotes, all three of these. And then we have these videos, like you see Carla Staver here. We have another one, John Pryor is also in our videos, on our videos page. We can combine those statements and the video in one section.
Okay.
To kind of bolster, because all they're trying to see is, are you guys legit?
Yeah.
So they're following this story. They're saying, okay, I get who you are. I get how you're different. I get that you understand my problems because you're addressing it in education. And now I get that you actually do what you say you can do. And I think if we do that, then we're doing a better job on the homepage.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the first place. And then you mentioned, and so that's where we need an update. We need an update on homepage. We all know that. The conversion, let's talk about the conversion for the homepage is, this request contact. There's newsletter sign up, but I don't know that needs to be on the homepage. That can be on the blog.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't want to clutter the homepage with, I really want them to request contact from the homepage.
Okay.
The next thing is we've got these how we help sections, and that maps back to these options. We can do this page all in one. Like I can cover, Because if you look at these pages, you're going to see a lot of redundancy. Trying to open them up all together, but what you find is at the top of each one of these, this is the reduced healthcare. You're going to find this section here, which overviews the problem, and then you're going to get the impact statement, and then the solution statement, and then the results. So the problem for this one is similar to the problem for the other one, and these are all the same. Like this is on every page. It's 45%, 50%, and this video is on every page.
Okay.
Every one of these pages. So we could simply have this, have a more comprehensive problem statement, impact and solution statement, and result statement. We can combine those. So this is the results for healthcare. These are the results for safety. We could put all results in one place.
Yeah, and I feel like that would reduce the barrier for people who are learning about you guys. You know, if they're having to click on 4 different things when you could just tell them all at once. And if the advantage is that it's all of the things that they're looking for, then you don't want to separate that out. And
no. So what we were trying to do back when we did this originally, just so you know, there are 2 personas. There's 3 personas actually. Okay. There is the HR director, which is different sometimes than the benefits manager. Okay. So the benefits manager sometimes works under the HR or separate from HR, and then but they're typically so they handle different. So the benefits managers, for instance, are looking to reduce healthcare costs, primary concern. Okay. HR is looking to hire great people, have great benefits so they can hire better and keep people on board. Yep. See how those motivations are slightly different?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why they're 2 different personas. The third persona is the VP of safety. Okay. Or transportation. And that's why all of these safety concerns, so he's the third persona. But if we have one page that addresses all 3 of those people, I think that's sufficient.
Yeah.
So I think we can combine this into one page, and that will help people navigate through, because right now they're having to pick. So if I'm a VP of HR, or let's say I'm a benefits manager. I care about this first one, I care about the third one, and I probably care about, the fourth one, and I probably care about the third one as well. Mm-hmm. So now I've got to go to 3 different pages to get the story.
Yeah. And
that's not a good experience.
I'm even thinking, like, I know sometimes I see things, tools that I'm looking into and might say, oh, wow, Jess could use this too. Yeah. Even though our job functions are different, we do have a lot of the same needs in the ways that we work with clients, and, you know, that might inspire some interdepartmental
communication. Yeah, totally. And it reinforces that fusion idea, that all-in-one platform. And if we're separating out our solutions and how we help, then it could imply to some people that there are, you know, it's not separate pieces or separate tiers, whenever really it is an all-in-one solution.
Yep. And for us, where this comes in is, I understand that 3 out of 4 times, or 75% of the time, the buyer is going to be the HR department. So even if they're giving our solution to safety, it's going to be housed within the benefits offering. So it's within the wellness program. And so your HR and benefits budget is the one that's going to pay for the solution.
Got it.
So at the end of the day, safety is a secondary audience. Okay. Mm-hmm. Because the buyer needs to be served first. They need to understand the benefits to them first. Okay. And so that's why I'm okay with making this one page and including the safety message within it, because most of the time it's going right back to the HR and benefits person anyway.
Okay. All right.
So that's that page. The last page, so I want them, if you're brand new, first time on the site, I want you to hit the home page and I want you to go to how we help.
Well, can I, let me jump in just a second. So one thing I did want to point out, and this is something that really just kind of clicked for me recently when we're kind of looking at some stuff. Your top page, other than your front page, do you know what it is?
Our difference.
No. About.
Oh, about. There you go.
By far. The next page after that is contact, and contact is about half of that. And what happens is people, when they hit your site, they want kind of they don't want to be sold to, just like you're saying. They just want to kind of figure out who you are. And so the about page on almost every site is the top page, other than the home page. And
see, that is very telling that it's the about. And
yes.
I think the way I translate that from within the company and understanding where we are in the sales process,
mm-hmm.
If you have a 2-year sales cycle, you've probably got, I don't know, countless companies at some place within that 2-year mark. Like
mm-hmm.
one guy's at 3 months in, one guy's at 6 months in, one guy's at 18 months. You've got different people. And so within that process, then you're getting a lot of vetting, and you're getting a lot of, oh, you need to hear about these guys. We're looking at them, and then they go to find out about us. So
yeah.
I like what you're saying, because telling our story on the homepage,
mm-hmm.
and then maybe improving this about page is significant.
Well, what I would say is the current homepage or about page is really, and again, this is something that just kind of clicked for me recently, is it's all wrong. And it's intuitively, we think the about page, we need to sell ourselves, right? But what I've actually, again, recently has clicked for me is because it's the page that they're going to go to, using it as a sales page versus here's how great we are page, or here's our credentials, and selling, just like you're talking about, here's how we actually help people, which is the same. It's still about you, and then that would be the top, and then at the bottom we talk about the credentials and who does what, the leadership, and have some of the stuff we have now. But at the top,
I like that because right now I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Right now, my fear is the content. So this was written. What you have is about statements.
Yeah.
And this was written by SK, this side, and this was written by Jeff. This is medical. This is all technology, about what we do from a technological standpoint, what we do from a medical standpoint. To me, those can be two. That's not a singular statement, and that's too bad. And so I really do. I agree with you. This could be improved.
Yeah,
we can move the recognition and the leadership team down and put some sort of sales message up here.
Because if it is your top page, then let's sell to them. That's kind of the idea. Like, yes, they're there to learn about you, but learning about you is sales, not information.
Yeah, let's make it engaging.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel you there. That sounds good to me. If I could have it my way, instead of instead of them going to the about page, they would go to the how we help, and then they would get our entire message. Mm-hmm. This is what we're doing. This is the case. Like, we get our 30-second elevator pitch.
Yeah. And
that's right in here. But we'll have to do some level of that, it sounds like, on the about page as well, like a summary of it.
Yeah, it's really like just kind of a what do you call it, subconscious thing, that the about page is important, and that's what they want to go to, obviously. And so we just leverage it versus trying to push them to a different page that they don't really want to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And we can creatively push people from the homepage to the How We Help page, even beyond the nav. But with, to speak to what Brian's saying, with about being such a conventional title for navigation, oftentimes if you pair that next to titles in navigation that aren't conventional, like Our Difference and How We Help, those could be the most important, but people will just kind of gravitate towards what they know, which is about and contact, and that's probably why we see those pages so high on the frequently visited list.
The other reason I think there's two things that I think are contributing to the about page being in addition to what we've just discussed.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is assuming that visitor who goes to the About page is a prospect.
Yeah.
But what I know from data also is that we get, for every one of those prospects, we get 3 or 4 people that we can't help. And that's because we're in the sleep space and it's so varied. You get individuals who are looking for equipment. You get you might have heard commercials on AM radio or in your car about you can come. There's dentists that offer sleep apnea treatment now. There's it's just this industry is so. There's so many different solutions at so many different levels that people aren't absolutely clear on where we fit. And so a lot of our traffic that comes in are searchers that are not just large employers. They don't just meet our criteria, obviously. They're people we can't help. They're individuals who are looking for sleep help for themselves or their family members. And so what happens a lot of times is Fusion Health doesn't tell them what we do. The name Fusion Health doesn't say, oh, you're a sleep health provider. So a lot of times they're trying to figure that out, and if they can't figure it out from the homepage, they go to the About page just to kind of figure us out.
Sure.
And so I think there's a lot of people doing that too. They just click right through, oh, this isn't what I'm looking for. Okay, and then they bounce. And we see our bounce rates at 60+%. So I think there's something to that as well. But in terms of the original discussion, I think the homepage is essential in the way that we discussed. The How We Help page gives more detail to what we started on in the homepage, which is, exactly what we do. And they're going to want to understand how we do it. So that's, that's where we're getting into these second 2 pages that are so important. And that, to me, that these are the ones that need. So the thing that's working well, I feel, I really like this top section because it's got a main video and then the main message. Now, I think, again, like we did on the homepage, the video can be integrated into this top piece. You can get a headline and then have your video up here, and then you can get some of your main, your main statements, and we can do this sort of thing that we're doing right now, which is fine, to break down our message into our differences, because there are several. Our scalability, our access to care, our consistency of care, our continuous care, and our mobile platform. These are all the things we want to talk about because they're aspects of our service that are unique. So I like going back and forth like this is fine, but I think this top section, we would integrate this into the top and then have more of a definitive statement as an overview, and then go into each individual aspect, access to care, consistency of care, all of those different things, mobile platform, and then we can handle them in these sections like this. I'm fine with that.
Aaron, one question that I have is, as I'm looking at this page, and I agree with you on the elements that do work really well, but I noticed that there are still some blocks of copy, and some of the copy I feel like is maybe a little bit small on the page and kind of crammed, so that may be something that we'll look at. But beyond that, I don't see a ton of iconography on your website, and I'm wondering if that is an intentional, you don't really resonate with that, or if we could kind of visually display what and reinforce some of the content in these sections to break up the eye a little bit, because some sections, while we do still have a lot of images, the actual meat in the paragraphs could potentially get lost if it's only presented in paragraph form throughout the page. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes total sense. Now, what I would say is that because we are a technology company, and we're not like a sleep clinic where you can walk in and shake hands with the doctor, we use telemedicine, so it's virtual. So you're going to do, a video conference. what we have to do is connect them back. We have to make ourselves as concrete as possible, and to look like a traditional service, because they need to view us like they view that sleep clinic or that primary care physician, or because we give them that level of service, even though some of it's virtual.
Gotcha.
So that's why we're bringing in all these photos of real people and real doctors, and trying to actually show the app, and not kind of represent it too much, but actually show it. So I would say that as a starting point. Like, yes, like we need to show real people in real situations, and we need to actually show our tech. We need to show stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I agree with you. The text is small and everything's paragraphs, so the likelihood that people are reading this is a lot
pretty low.
A lot less.
Yeah, and I mean, it may not be adding in tons of icons necessarily, but even just taking some of these paragraphs and maybe collaborating and working on creating bullet points for them, and or shortening some of the paragraphs and then creating bullet points for just part of them. Just any way that we can break up the presentation of some of the copy where it still has the same impact and provides the same value. Because I agree. I mean, if we just make this super icon and image heavy, and then it all of a sudden looks like we're not as serious, or don't have quite the level of expertise. So I think there's a balance there for sure.
Yeah. Yep. And so this is kind of the how we help is like what we do, and we go through the case. You have a problem. Here's how we solve it. Here's the results of us solving it, and this is why you need to choose us versus your other options. And so now we got to talk about the benefits of us versus maybe some of their other options. So we could talk about the single source for all of sleep healthcare again. We mentioned it on the homepage, but now we need to define it out a little more. We said on the homepage we were giving people better access to care and more consistent care at scale, but now we need to actually show them how we do it. So we said we can do consistent care at scale. Okay, how we do that is we use workflow technology, and we can, we put people into a process where we're monitoring them, and everybody's getting the same, they're medically validated tests, that everybody's getting the same kind of process and treatment and responses, because everything's kind of been automated, as well as being monitored and having individualized care from real people. So we're mixing technology and people to provide a better service at scale. So that would be the message here, and then you would do the same thing on each of these. But again, we could do it in this format, or we can do it in a different format where we can, a more condensed format. I'm okay with that too. I mean, I'm open. I mean, you guys know latest design. You guys are building sites every day, so I just want to be able to tell our story and for people to actually read and consume it. Because right now, there's a lot of sectors on this page, and I wonder if they actually get to the end. And you guys would know because you have the Crazy Egg heat map.
Yeah.
But we need to catch their attention. So those icons could help, I think.
My last kind of idea that I wanted to ask you about and get your feedback on was, I know I'd mentioned before kind of wanting to think of a more creative way that we can use some of the tools on the site. And Natalie just showed me her screen, and that was her next question too. Anyway, the calculate the cost tool. I think that is a great tool for those HR reps. And my question is, how would you feel about possibly combining some of the elements and some of the fields from our contact form and our calculate the cost tool? So making it gate kept in a way, but also making it more interactive. It wouldn't just be a one-page kind of form. We can really elevate the tool itself, but use that same functionality so that the user on their end is getting to calculate the cost, and it doesn't feel like just a cold sell. But then on your end, you're also being able to vet all of those leads and see, okay, exactly how many employees do they have, what's the average cost, and then you can have that sales conversation with a bit of foresight.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think that would be a good evolution of this one. You know, if we look at the function on this, you know, and we put it in, let's say, you know, whatever, view results. They and then they can fill out the form at the bottom if they want these sent to them.
Yeah.
You know, this is interesting, but it would be wonderful, like you said, if not only did you get these results, but do you want to now speak with us?
Yeah.
Because that's the point of this, you know, for us is, can we lead this to a request to contact? And then, like you said, get those insights and definitions. Make this more of a, hey, you know, right up at front, here's your cost. Yes, you can get this sent to you, but we're here to discuss this with you. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
So I would love to do that, and I think you're right. I think it's hidden over here, and it's a big marketing tool that we could be using, we could be leveraging better. So we've got this request to contact as a conversion, but this could be a main conversion too, because this provides them some value in the contact as well.
Yeah, we call tools like that a tripwire. It's like you have the main offer on your website, and that of course is your main source for conversion, but then you can also provide those tools and gatekeep them, so it's kind of their way of you know, getting in the funnel without having to fully make that commitment, which can be intimidating.
Yeah, so I like that. I like leveraging this better and highlighting it more, as well as, you know, the request to contact on both of these pages, the how we help and the our difference, because this is really the home page. We're leading them in, and then these are really our sales pages, you know, and then we can do a little bit better selling job on the about page for sure. Brian, by the way, the reason that they wouldn't let me touch this area, and the reason why this is set up the way it is we were looking for investment at the time.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That makes sense.
Yeah, so they weren't serving the prospect.
Yeah.
With this content, and that's hurt us since, though. I mean, investment is over. Like, we're past that point, and now we've still got a page that talks to investors and not prospects.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But in terms of, I just wanted to make the point. So these are real. It's the homepage, how we help, our difference, and about that we could really use your help with. And whatever design you come up with, of course, we need to integrate it across the site.
Yeah, absolutely.
But again, I said this last week, we're really happy with the learning sections of our site. I mean, we've done good work here, and I think we made a lot of progress. So for me, this is just a visual template. We just updated the blog template recently. So this all is, I feel that this is fine, other than making the design look like the rest of the site. So this is a what do you call this? I can't remember the word. You guys know it, but the template itself, or just the can't remember the word, but just, you know, the header and footer, and then the guts stay the same.
Gotcha.
You know, learn page. You know, same thing. I like what it's doing right now. I think this is all working for us.
Yeah.
I think the contact page is great. You know. So it's just a header and footer, you know. So that's to me where we can improve. Now, I think if we tell our story better on the sales pages as described, and then highlight the conversions, request contact in that calculator, and minimize and get rid of the newsletter, leave that in the blog area. You know, I would be significantly happy with that. We've got, like you said, we've got all these videos to offer now, and we're producing more every day, but we've got great videos, you know, that kind of we would like to highlight a little bit better. I mentioned having that education piece be higher up on the page and more prominent, because it is part of our messaging. And it does make such a bold statement about us because our content is so strong. So, you know, other than that, I mean, that's kind of the overview I give. What else did you guys have? What other questions?
That covered everything